Software testing is like being a detective. We find problems in software before users do. We make sure software works well and does what it should. There are two main types of testing: manual and automation. Manual testing involves humans doing the testing. We use the software like a user would. We look for any issues or bugs. Automation testing uses tools to run tests automatically. This helps us test faster and find more bugs. Testing is super important in software development. Imagine building a house without checking if the walls are straight or the roof doesn't leak. That would be a disaster, right? Software is similar. Without testing, software can have bugs. These bugs can cause problems for users like crashes or data loss. Testing helps us find and fix these bugs early on. This makes the software better and safer for everyone. Let's talk about manual testing first. Manual testing is a fundamental aspect of software development, ensuring that the product meets the required standards and functions as intended. It involves a tester manually executing test cases without the use of automation tools. A common question in interviews is, what is your approach to testing a new feature? This question aims to understand your thought process and methodology when faced with a new challenge. A good answer explains your process. Start by understanding what the feature should do. This involves reading the documentation, discussing with developers, and analyzing the feature requirements. It's crucial to have a clear understanding of the feature's purpose and functionality. Then, create test cases. These are steps to check if the feature works as expected. Test cases should be detailed and cover various scenarios, including edge cases. They act as a guide for the testing process. For example, if you're testing a login button, your test cases might include several scenarios. Entering the correct username and password to ensure successful login. Entering a wrong username or password to check if the system correctly handles errors and displays appropriate messages. Leaving the username or password field blank to see if the system prompts the user to fill in the required fields. For each test case, you note down the expected result and the actual result. This comparison helps in identifying discrepancies and understanding the behavior of the feature under different conditions. This helps you identify any bugs. Documenting these findings is crucial as it provides a clear record of what was tested, what issues were found, and how they were addressed. This documentation can be used for future reference and helps in maintaining the quality of the software. Regularly updating your test cases based on new findings and changes in the feature is also important. This ensures that your testing process remains relevant and effective. Collaboration with your team is key. Sharing your findings and discussing potential issues can lead to better solutions and improvements in the software. Remember, manual testing is not just about finding bugs, but also about ensuring the overall quality and user experience of the product. Automation testing is like having a robot helper. It's great for repetitive tasks and running lots of tests quickly, but when do we use it? We automate tests when they are repetitive tests we need to run many times, like after every code change, time-consuming tests that take a long time to run manually, critical tests that check important parts of the software. Selenium is a popular tool for automation. It lets us write code to control web browsers and automate actions just like a real user. Before diving into Selenium interview questions, let's brush up on some key concepts. Web elements. These are the building blocks of a web page, like buttons, text fields, and links. Selenium interacts with these elements to test the website. Locators. We use locators to find web elements on a page. Common locators include ID, name, XPath, and CSS selector. Actions. Selenium can perform actions like clicking, typing, and selecting options on a web page. Assertions. We use assertions to verify if the actual outcome of a test matches the expected outcome. Now, let's look at some common Selenium interview questions. These questions are frequently asked in interviews and are essential for anyone looking to excel in the field of automation testing. One of the most common questions is, what are the different types of weights in Selenium? Understanding weights is crucial for ensuring that your tests run smoothly and efficiently. we use waits to tell Selenium to pause execution until a certain condition is met. This helps in synchronizing the test execution with the state of the web page. This is important because web pages can take time to load and elements may not be immediately available. Without waits, your test could fail due to timing issues. There are two main types of waits in Selenium. The first is implicit wait, which waits for a certain amount of time for an element to appear. This is a global wait and is applied to all elements in the test script. The second type is explicit wait, which waits for a specific condition to be true before proceeding. This is more flexible and can be applied to individual elements as needed. Another common question is, how do you handle frames in Selenium? Frames are like windows within a web page, and they can be tricky to deal with if you're not familiar with them. Frames are essentially sections of a web page that can load different content independently. To interact with elements inside a frame, we first need to switch to that frame using Selenium commands. The command to switch to a frame is driver.switch_to frame. You can switch to a frame by its index name or web element. Once you're done interacting with the elements inside the frame, you should switch back to the main content using driver switch to the default content. Understanding how to handle waits and frames in Selenium is fundamental for creating robust and reliable test scripts. These concepts ensure that your tests can handle dynamic web pages and complex web applications effectively. Advanced Selenium interview questions. Here are some more challenging Selenium questions you might encounter in an interview setting. These questions are designed to test your in-depth knowledge and practical experience with Selenium. One common question is, how do you handle dynamic elements on a web page? Dynamic elements are those that change their attributes frequently, making them tricky to locate and interact with. To handle these, we can use dynamic locators like XPath or CSS selector with functions. These functions allow us to create more flexible and robust locators. For instance, we can use functions like contains or starts with in XPath to locate elements based on partial attributes. This is particularly useful when dealing with elements that have dynamic IDs or classes. Another important concept is the page object model or POM. Explain the page object model, POM, and its benefits. POM is a design pattern in Selenium that makes our code cleaner and easier to maintain. It helps in reducing code duplication and improves test maintenance. In POM, we create separate classes to store the locators and methods for each web page. This way, our test scripts become more readable and manageable. This way, if a locator changes, we only need to update it in one place rather than updating it in every test script where it is used. This significantly reduces the effort required for maintenance. Another advanced question you might face is, how do you handle AJAX calls in Selenium? AJAX calls can be tricky because they load data asynchronously. To handle them, we can use WebDriver wait in Selenium to wait for certain conditions to be met before proceeding with the next step in our test. For example, we can wait for an element to be visible or clickable before interacting with it. This ensures that our tests are more reliable and less prone to failures due to timing issues. Understanding these advanced concepts and being able to explain them clearly can set you apart in a Selenium interview. Make sure to practice and be prepared to discuss your experiences and solutions in detail. Good luck with your interview preparation, and remember, confidence and clarity in your answers can make a big difference. Handling challenges in automation. Interviewers often ask about challenges faced in automation. Be prepared to share your experience and problem-solving skills. A common challenge is dealing with flaky tests. These are tests that pass sometimes and fail other times without any code changes. Flaky tests can be caused by timing issues, environment problems, or unreliable test data. Explain your approach to identifying and fixing flaky tests. This might include using debugging tools, analyzing logs, and improving test stability. Tips for interview success. Here are some tips to ace your testing interview. Practice, practice, practice. Practice answering common interview questions out loud. This will help you feel more confident during the interview. Show your passion. Express your enthusiasm for testing and your willingness to learn new things. Ask questions. Asking thoughtful questions shows your interest and helps you learn more about the role and company. Conclusion: your testing journey. Mastering these interview questions is just the first step in your testing journey. The world of software testing is constantly evolving. Embrace the learning process, stay curious, and continue to improve your skills. With dedication and passion, you can thrive in this exciting and rewarding field.